Sky News have been caught lying about the SA of a 12-year-old girl by a group of illegal migrants in Dover. This is perhaps one of the more shocking cases that we've ever seen of dishonesty by the media. Hello everyone, this is Andre Walker. I'm here at the Unite the Nation rally and conference, but I'm going to tell you about something that happened on my television show last night, something that's going to leave you genuinely shocked. When we have the news late at night, Sky News are the people that provide it. Nothing wrong with that. But they announced that there'd been a conviction in Dover of 3 men who had R'd a girl in Dover. What they'd done, very simply, was this. They'd found her walking out of a supermarket. They had then given her drugs, and she was incapable of making a rational decision. They'd then bungled her into a car and subjected her to a 2-day ordeal. 2 days, and they'd been convicted and sent to prison for a long time. Now listen, the fact that illegal migrants have done this, the fact that this has been a problem, is not a major surprise. The shock here was that Sky News did not give the names of these people. We all know that if these people had been British, they would have been publicly shamed. Well, let me tell you who they were. They were a group of Slovak nationals, Kevin Horvath, Ivan Turtak, and Ernest Gurnan. These people had only been in the country for a matter of days. They'd just come off a boat at Dover, and the first thing they did when they came to the United Kingdom was immediately attempted to attack a young girl of just 12 years old. She said that this was going to change her life forever. And you can understand that. You can believe that. Now look, I think there are a couple of sins here today, aren't there? Sin number 1 is allowing this uncontrolled immigration. Sin number 2 is allowing people to behave in this way. But sin number 3 is the way the media are not willing to be honest about this. I'm going to give you some statistics. If you are an Afghan that comes to the United Kingdom illegally, you are 22 times more likely to commit SA than a member of the British public. If you are an Eritrean who comes to the United Kingdom illegally, you are 20 times more likely to commit SA than an ordinary member of the public. If you're a Pakistani that comes to the United Kingdom illegally, you're 15 times more likely to commit SA than a member of the public. We don't have those statistics for Slovak nationals, but by God, it's going to go through the roof now. And I look back, and we'll turn around and just shoot this and not bother these people here, and we'll just say to ourselves, look at the Cabinet Office, built by the hard work and ingenuity of British people. Look at Downing Street, donated by the previous holders of First Lord of the Treasury. These people are refusing to stand up for Britain. They're refusing to stand up for young people. You know, let's ask ourselves a question today at this protest and this rally. Does Owen Jones believe that you have a right to SA if you are an illegal migrant? Let's remind ourselves of, and we can keep walking, let's remind ourselves of the protest and anger of Owen Jones when he spoke to Julia Hartley-Brewer, saying, "You're not gay, right? You're not gay, you're not gay." The reason that Owen Jones said that really simply was this: that there had been a machine gun attack on a gay nightclub in the United States of America by a man who screamed Allah Akbar when he fired the shots. Well, Owen Jones was saying that this was not evidence of a problem with uncontrolled immigration from the Islamic world. This was proof that there was a more general issue in the United States of America with homophobia and homophobic hate crime. And when Julia Hartley-Brewer called him out on it, he was absolutely furious. Look, I'm not going to say to you that I believe that all of these people are bad people, but I do believe that what they're doing is sacrificing the health, the wealth, the happiness of the children of this country on the altar of some crazy political correctness. When this girl says to this country, "Why did this happen to me?" then part of it is that she was unlucky. Of course it is. But part of it also is that we were allowing people into the country who shouldn't be here. You know, I watched an interview with somebody from the Irish Republic the other day. Do you know you had government ministers in the Irish Republic literally saying that They wanted people to come to Ireland because there are so many freebies available. That is something that I'm going to say is wholly inappropriate. And now we have to ask ourselves about Sky News. We have to ask ourselves whether we should be allowed to continue with what's happened here. And I say to you that when we see 1 million people out here today, let's just say people are not the far-right thugs that they've been made out to be. What they are is ordinary, decent and honest people. And I say to you that now we've got all of these people from the countries that have come into this country, you have to say, look, good, decent people will find it easy to come to this country, won't they? If you want to come to this country as an investment banker, if you want to come to this country as a lawyer, if you want to come to this country as all of these things, then it's so easy to do. But the reason that these people are struggling to get into the country as unemployed, as penniless, as work-shy people is because the system was intended to only allow people in who'd contributed to the country. That's what's happening with all of these illegal migrants, that they are gaming the system. I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing wrong with being Slovak. There's nothing wrong with being poor. There's nothing wrong with being an economic migrant. But the people that we bring to this country have to be in the interests of this country. Are you willing to stand by and say to yourself that a young girl should go to a shop in Dover and be unable to make it out without being kidnapped because of the altar of political correctness? I think that we shouldn't allow that. I believe that that's a disgrace. I believe that's wrong. And I also believe that there's a band about to start here and this is going to get incredibly noisy. I just want to say to you, apologies for some of the mistakes we've made during the filming of this, but we're out and about all day at this Unite the Nation rally. Please, 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 we want to get to 200,000 subscribers. Please do subscribe below. And I also want to say to you finally, my impression of this protest, this rally, it's not about being an extremist. It's not about being a nationalist. It's not about any of these things. It's about just ordinary people saying to themselves, we have a right to stand up for this country and we have a right to live in this country in peace. And so, where does this video end? Well, I think it has to end where it began, by saying that Sky News, that the BBC, that ITV have behaved despicably. A young girl in Dover walked out of a supermarket with a few items of shopping and spent 2 days going through an ordeal. The people that did it should never have been in this country. This country should never have allowed those people in, and those people should now be deported after their sentence. But I guarantee you that is not what's going to happen, because what they'll do, exactly the same as the guy in Epping, is they will say, we will be discriminated against in our own country if we are returned after we finish our sentence. Therefore, we should have a right under the Human Rights Act to remain in the United Kingdom. That is what is going to happen. That is what people are protesting about. That's why people are upset with the media, and that's why Sky News should apologise to the victim of this grotesque attack for what they said about her last night. Till next time, goodbye.